Alright, today we will be doing valve cover gaskets on Mercedes C-class 2007 with the V6. I think it's C240. That's what I have. And a few others. I'll list those in the description. But as you can see on mine, there's like a slight oil coming out. I've cleaned recently, so it's not bad. But you can see it's like a little greasy back in there. And over time it'll start leaking real bad, and you'll smell it when your heat comes on in the winter. So you'll want to get those replaced. It's not that bad a job. First, we're going to start out by removing these intake tubes right here, and we are going to have to remove the intake. And after you get those off, you can pull this plastic top cover off the intake. It just unclips like that and slides off. Okay, after you guys get that off, we're going to take the actual intake off. It has these clips right here basically holding it, so you just have to lift it up and off, and it will be connected in the back here on the back side, but you should be able to pull up and off. And on the C-class, I don't believe there's any vacuum lines connected to it, but just disconnects right here from your MAF. And as you see, mine has been leaking oil pretty bad. It's real dirty. And alright, after you get the intake and everything off, we're going to do coil packs next. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave them plugged into the spark plug, so I know where each of them go back, and just let them hang to the side. But it's a T30, you look down there, just a T30, and I'm just going to unplug them right here, and I'm going to cut, you are going to have to cut the zip tie, unless you pull them up to the top. But I'm going to cut my zip tie and just re-zip tie it. So 3 coil packs on each side. And after that, we can start taking the valve covers off. Alright, after you get your coil packs loose, we're going to take off the valve cover, which is an E10 torque socket, just like this. There are 9 bolts in total, I believe. 5 up top and then 4 on the bottom. And your valve cover should come off after that. Alright, after you get everything broken loose, valve covers loose, you're going to want to take this hose off right here, and then this hose on the other side. Just vacuum lines. Take those off, probably pop them off with a little fly screwdriver in there, and they should come right off. Then you should be able to take your intake off. Okay, the vacuum lines were really hard to take off on this side. I broke both of them, so you might have to just replace all of yours. But it looks like I'm going to have to take this braided fuel line off. So we're going to have to take that off just to take the valve cover up and off the cam and everything. So it's probably a 17, should take it off. Alright, so now we're taking these covers off. There's one on each valve cover in their T25. You'll want to take these off to get in there and clean, because it's like an oil collector, oil separator almost. So take these off and clean, and you'll have to remake a gasket. We have a RTV gasket maker, high temp. That's good stuff, or you can get Mercedes brand if you want to. They both work good. Alright, now we're gonna do the top part of the valve cover, the oil collector. These don't come with their own seals, so we're gonna make our own out of this gasket maker RTV. We're using red, high temp. Should work good. Make sure you get it in all the crevices. And then we're gonna tighten the T25 nuts back to 8 Newton meters, which is 5.9 foot-pounds. Alright, now that you got the gasket sealer on there, just like this, or the gasket maker. This is for passenger side. Driver side is a little different. We're gonna wanna just basically just put it on there, and make sure you have it on there like I do, and then put your nuts back in. Should be 2 on this one. Alright, once you get the top screwed on, we're going to put your gaskets in place. Make sure you put some RTV on the corners here, all of them, just a little bit, so it can seal well. And we're going to bolt the valve covers down to 10 Newton meters. It's not very tight because it's magnesium, it'll strip easy. Alright, as I said before, after you get your gasket on, make sure you put the RTV on the outside, just like this. And we'll bolt the valve covers down to 10 Newton meters. You don't want them too tight. And it will be a little tricky putting it back in. And you don't need too much RTV, just rub it on with your finger. Alright, now we've gotten valve covers back in place. Make sure you hook up your vacuum lines on each side, one right there, and then one on that side. We gotta hook ours up. Put your coil packs back in. It's a T30. And then we're going to tighten down our valve covers, which is 10 Newton meters, about 7 foot-pounds. These don't go very tight. Make sure you have everything tightened down. And then let the car sit for a while so your gasket sealer and RTV can all dry nice and good so it doesn't leak. Okay, after you guys get everything back together, you see my gasket stuff here. It says let this RTV sit and dry. It says wait 24 hours for it to completely cure. So after you get everything torqued down, it says wait 24 hours for it to completely cure. On the bottle it says turn half a turn on mine after 24 hours, I believe. Turn another half turn after you got the bolts tightened. I'm gonna do that, but be careful. Make sure you don't strip your bolts. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you don't have to. But after that, we're going to just make sure all your vacuum hoses are plugged in and your intake is going to go back on top. Make sure you just slide it over the back right here, and then it'll just clip back onto these two rubber pieces here. Alright, after you get your cover on, that should be all. Just make sure you put your intake hoses back on. If you guys had any questions, comment down below. Hopefully this was helpful. I believe I covered everything. Just be careful not to strip any of your bolts. If you like the video, just give a thumbs up.